Let me start out by saying this is not about how to identify each and every shorebird individually. These are 5 tricks for identifying all of them more easily. Look, there are 5 tricks to identifying shorebirds that nobody ever talks about. First trick, tear the book in half. I'll finish it later. Identifying shorebirds is a big challenge, but it doesn't have to be. The problem is, the book is too big. No matter where you are in the world, most of the shorebirds in the field guide aren't there. There are about 235 shorebird species in the world. There's about 87 in the Americas. About 52 of those are in North America. Of those 52 shorebirds, a lot of them are not at the shore. So if you're looking at shorebirds of the world or any field guide like that, 90% of the photos you're looking at aren't there. Those pages are useless, tear them out. Right now, I'm at Castalia Marsh. It's on Graminan Island in New Brunswick, Canada. Tens of thousands of shorebirds migrate through here every year. August 3rd, 1988, a little stint was seen here in Castalia Marsh. That's a small shorebird that nests all across the north of Europe and Asia, and winters down in Africa and Southeast Asia. They're almost never seen in North America. So you have a better chance of being hit by lightning than seeing a little stint. You don't need the page, tear it out. Impossible birds are possible, and we'll get to that in trick 5, but in the meantime, let's just make this easy. In all of northern New England and maritime Canada, 3 shorebirds show up in big numbers: least sandpiper, semi-palmated sandpiper, and semi-palmated plover. Black-bellied plovers, white-rumped sandpipers, even barred sandpipers are possible here, in fact, rather likely. Then, there are ruddy turnstones, maybe sanderlings, short-billed dowitcher, lesser and greater yellowlegs. So American golden plover, red knot, and certainly whimbrels are in here regularly. That's 14 birds. Your field guide for this spot only needs 14 pages. And it's the same 14 pages over here. This is my favorite spot along the entire coast of Maine for shorebirding, South Lubec Sandflats. No surprise, it's only 12 miles across the Graminan Channel that way to Castalia Marsh. And really, you only need 3 pages for most of these birds. There's 3 that outnumber all the others by a lot, and that's least sandpiper, semi-palmated sandpiper, and semi-palmated plover. 3. And really, you're not looking for these 3 birds. They're all over the place. You can't miss them. You're looking for the birds that aren't these 3. And really, that's just 11 other species. It's a different mix wherever you go, but wherever you go, it's the same small mix of possibilities. Travel down the coast to southern Maine, you start to get more willets. Sandy beaches in southern Maine, more piping plovers. Middle Atlantic states and on down, more godwits are in the beaches, but then you start to lose some of the ones that are around here. In fact, when you get to Florida, you start to lose the semi-palmated sandpipers because they all went to South America. Down there, it's mostly western sandpipers. But again, still a pretty small number to handle. I mean, in Florida, snowy and Wilson's plover become available. So, no matter what, no matter where, you're dealing with a much smaller number than what's totaled in that field guide. Here at South Lubec Sandflats, there's a beach side and a marsh side, and we're over in the marsh side for trick number 2. Each species has its own timetable. The mix changes as the season goes along. Last summer, I was in Castalia Marsh in mid-September. White rump sandpipers everywhere. This year, I was there in mid-August. Not one. Same spot, different mix. Dunlin, come through the latest of anybody. October, even in November, Dunlin will start to come down from the Arctic. Purple sandpipers are winter birds here. Every beach and every mudflat has its own local mix and its own local timetable. It's going to change everywhere you go, but still, it's just a handful of birds. Trick number 3, just know that many of the shorebirds aren't at the shore. You can ignore a lot of what's in the book. Wilson snipe, marsh bird. American woodcock, edge of the field and into the woods bird. Buff-breasted sandpiper, barred sandpiper, American golden plover. They're as likely to be in a farm field, a sod farm, than out here on the beach. Solitary sandpiper, they like mud puddles. You're not going to find them with the other shorebirds at the shore. Look at this. Solitary sandpiper in this drainage ditch behind the sand dune. Right over here on the beach, least sandpipers. Even though he's just 100 yards away from all of them, the solitary sandpiper will not join the others. Spotted sandpipers would rather be in a rocky shoreline, but they will go on the beach sometimes. Killdeer would rather be in a field, but they'll go on the beach sometimes. Don't be entirely surprised. Upland sandpipers out west in prairies. Here in the east, blueberry barrens have them, but never at the shore, so you can rip out all those pages. Okay, in case it's not obvious, it's now morning of the next day. Before we get to trick 4, you should know that tide really matters. Yesterday afternoon, we caught high tide on the beach, some birds roosting up. But most of the activity is going to happen as the water is dropping, because that's when the ocean is leaving food behind on the beach, and they're going to flood in as these tides come down. Tide matters everywhere, but in this spot, this is a 21-foot tide today. The 4th trick, you really don't have to study shorebirds that much. Most are uniquely identifiable, and there are books, there are websites, there's YouTube channels that tell you how to do it. In fact, I've done some of those. But if you really want to accelerate your identification skills, notice there are troublesome pairs. And once you get the hang of identifying those, the rest get a lot easier. Greater and lesser yellowlegs. Short-billed and long-billed dowitcher. White-rumped and barred sandpiper. They're the same size, they're the same shape, and you really can't see that white rump unless it's flying away from you. But the white-rumped sandpiper has a little wiggle in the walk. It's got chevrons under the wings. It tends to stand a little deeper in the water. The barred sandpiper is a little bit browner, and it's got really dark, scaly, diamond-shaped pattern on the back. Sometimes there are 3 troublemakers: least sandpiper, semi-palmated sandpiper, western sandpiper. They all look kind of alike. Least sandpiper just a teensy bit smaller, also browner. Semi-palmated sandpiper just a little bit bigger and grayer. And the western sandpiper is kind of brownish, halfway between the two, with red in the shoulders and top of the cap. Some beaches, you're going to have black-bellied plovers next to American golden plovers. If you're in the west, you might have Pacific golden plover in the mix too. That's 3 troublemakers. Quick, black-bellied plover, slightly larger, bigger bill, black belly, or at least black armpits, whitish rump. American golden plover, slightly smaller, shorter bill, more obvious white eyebrow. No black anywhere underneath an autumn. Back color is the same from head to tail. That's it. Troublesome problem solved. Whatever that golden plover is in the beach, it's one of only 3, not one of 235 species in the book. So trick number 5, once you get used to all the common birds, you don't have to look hard for the rare ones. They're going to find you. So you're looking through the flock of all these shorebirds you're now used to, and you see one that looks different. That's the one you're going to key in on. And then you're going to tape all the pages back into the field guide, because now you need it. A great time to look for an oddball is when they're flying. It's easier to see a different size or shape when they're all bunched together in the air. If they're not flying, don't worry. As soon as the inevitable peregrine falcon strafes the flock, they will be. So that's the trick. Trick number 5. Odd birds look odd. Until you see something that looks odd, don't worry about it. Keep it simple. So, that's it. Let's get out here and play in the mud.